their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continue not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my laws into their minds.
So after those days mean what? When the kingdom is established. That's when they're going to actually fully receive that new covenant, because all Israel is going to be saved. Go ahead.
I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts. And I will be to them a power, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. And that he saith a new covenant, he hath made the first old. Now that which decayeth and waxeth old is ready to vanish away. Hebrews 9:1. Then verily the first covenant had also ordinances of divine service and a worldly sanctuary. For there was a tabernacle made, the first wherein was the candlestick, and the table, and the shewbread, which is called the sanctuary. And after the second veil, the tabernacle which is called the holiest of all, which had the golden censer and the ark of the covenant, overlaid round about with gold, wherein was the golden pot that had manna, and Aaron's rod that budded, and the tables of the covenant. And over it the cherubims of glory, shadowing the mercy seat, of which we cannot now speak particularly. Now when these things were thus ordained, the priest went always into the first tabernacle, accomplishing the service of the Most High. But into the second went the high priest alone.
Yeah, because you had a numerous amount of priests, but you had one high priest.
Yep.
Now the first high priest was Aaron, and then through Aaron's bloodline, through his seed, you had his son. The oldest son became the high priest, and so forth and so on. Like during the time of Yahushai's time, right before he was crucified, the high priest at that time was Caiaphas. Mm-hmm. All right, go ahead.
It says, but into the second went the high priest alone once every year, not without blood, which he offered for himself and for the errors of the people. The Holy Spirit did signifying that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest, while as the first tabernacle was yet standing, which was a figure for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices that could not make him that did the service perfect, as pertaining to the conscience, which stood only in meats and drinks and divers washings and cardinal ordinances, imposed on them until the time of reformation. But Yahushua, being come and high priest of good things to come, by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building, neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood he entered in once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for us. For if the blood of bulls and of goats and the ashes of an heifer sprinkling the unclean sanctifieth to the purifying of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of Yahushua, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to the Most High, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living power. And for this cause he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance.
So he became the ultimate sacrifice. That's why animal sacrifices were done away with, because the Lord himself, Yahushua, became that sacrifice.
That's right. It says, for where a testament is, there must also of necessity be the death of the testator. For a testament is of force after men are dead. Otherwise, it is of no strength at all while the testator liveth.
Yeah, like you watch movies, and among the super rich, they leave what's called their last will and testament.
Mm-hmm.
And where did you think they got it from? They got it from the ancient world. Go ahead.
Whereupon neither the first testament was dedicated without blood. For when Moses had spoken every precept to all the people according to the law, he took the blood of calves and of goats with water, and scarlet wool and hyssop, and sprinkled both the book and all the people, saying, This is the blood of the testament which the Most High hath enjoined unto you. That's why the scriptures say, gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
Which are the Israelites.
Yep.
And that hasn't changed. And the New Testament didn't open the door for Edomites or Hamites or any other nation. So these idiots out here, which I'm talking exclusively about these Israelite men and women out here that think they're teaching you the truth, they're lost.
Yep. It says, moreover, he sprinkled with the blood both the tabernacle and all the vessels of the ministry. And almost all things are by the law purged with blood, and without shedding of blood is no remission. It was therefore necessary that the patterns of things in the heavens should be purified with these, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. For Yahushua is not entered into the holy places made with hands, which are the figures of the true, but into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of the Most High for us. Nor yet that he should offer himself often, as the high priest entereth into the holy place every year, with blood of others. For then must he often have suffered since the foundation of the world.
Yeah, well, that's what these jakes want, that was a part of the truth and went back into the world, and now they want to come back into the truth. The only way you can come back into the fold, is that the Lord come down on the earth and die for you. And the Lord's not going to do that. He only died once.
That's it. For then must he often have suffered since the foundation of the world. But now once in the end of the world hath he appeared to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. It says, and as it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment. So Yahushua was once offered to bear the sins of many, and unto them that look for him shall he appear the second time without sin unto salvation. And that's the end of the 9th chapter.
So let's read the 10th.
Okay. Hebrews 10:1. For the law, having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never, with those sacrifices which they offered year by year, continually make the comers thereunto perfect. For then would they not have ceased to be offered, because that the worshipper once purged should have had no more conscience of sins. But in those sacrifices there is a remembrance again made of sins every year. For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sins. Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he saith, Sacrifice and offerings thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me. In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sins thou hast had no pleasure. And it's telling you right there that basically the law of sacrifice was done away with. Then said I, Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do thy will, O Most High. Above, when he said sacrifice and offerings and burnt offerings and offerings for sins thou wouldest not, neither had his pleasure therein, which are offered by the law. Then said he, Lo, I come to do thy will, O Most High. He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second. By the which will
He taketh away the first to establish the second is what? The first covenant to the second covenant, or the last covenant, or the new covenant, which is the New Testament. So did that mean that the law was done away with? No. Because in the kingdom, we're going to keep the law, just like we're supposed to keep the law now.
That's right.
Go ahead.
By the which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Yahushua once for all. And every priest standeth daily ministering and offering oftentimes the same sacrifices which can never take away sins. But this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down on the right hand of the Most High, from henceforth expecting till his enemies be made his footstool. For by one offering he hath perfected forever them that are sanctified, whereof the Holy Spirit also is a witness to us. For after that he had said before, this is the covenant that I will make with them after those days, saith the Lord, I will put my laws into their hearts, and in their minds will I write them. And their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. Now where remission of these is, there is no more offering for sin. Having therefore, brethren, boldness to enter into the holiest by the blood of Yahushua, by a new and living way, which he hath consecrated for us through the veil, that is to say, his flesh. And having an high priest over the house of the Most High.